Let's do this.
All right, man. So it's rolling, man. Oh,
All
it
right.
went away.
All
Oh, now
right.
you're back.
All right.
You're back again, man. That's what's up. All right, so so they're starting to get the content. Hey guys, let HA and I know if you can hear us talking and you can
Can
hear
you hear
HA.
us? Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
It's going in and out. But
Everybody, it's going in and out
no,
now?
no, you're good now. All right, hey man, HA makes the HA for prayers.
Thank you. No, it's my fault. My fault tonight. My fault tonight. My computer's messed up.
Can you guys hear HA, man? Can you
It's
guys
the
hear him?
it's the Russians. The Russians hacked my computer.
We hear everyone. Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. All right, guys, welcome to No
Tim,
Sellouts. Welcome to
the
No
Russians,
Sellouts with my man H.A. Goodman. What's up, H.A.?
Tim Black.
H.A., what's up, man?
The Russians hacked us, man.
That's what it was, bro. That's it. Damn, Russians.
Where's the FBI and NSA to help no sellouts?
Exactly, man. What's going on? We need to get them on the case. We need Maxine Waters to stage a sit out. We need where's Elizabeth Warren now? Elizabeth.
We need Warren to get us Krispy Kreme donuts. That's what she did with when they had that sit-in.
Yeah, there was a big. Oh, but it was very brave of her to go to Krispy Kreme's.
Tim, crazy day today.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Look, man. Let's first of all, WikiLeaks loves H.A. Goodman. You guys, you guys need to know this. You need to know it for real, for real. Like they really love H.A. Goodman. H.A. Goodman, tell them what happened today with you on WikiLeaks.
I love Tim Black and I love WikiLeaks. And I'm very honored today. WikiLeaks tweeted my latest counter-propa article about Donna Brazil passing debate questions to Hillary Clinton. And yet the DNC still wants, or Democrats still demand loyalty. And WikiLeaks tweeted that out. So I'm very thankful. Thank you, WikiLeaks. And yeah, it was cool. Very honored. And, today was very interesting, Tim. This is something I know that you get heat and I get a lot of heat. And honestly, I don't care what anybody, if there's a great many people out there who think I'm disloyal because I'm not going along with the Russian hacking narrative. How about defeating Trump the same way that Bernie raised over $220 million? Bernie raised $220 million by being authentic, genuine, didn't have to blame anyone for anything. He just focused on breaking up too big to fail banks, ending counterinsurgency wars, perpetual counterinsurgency wars, focusing on single payer, focusing on banning fracking, free college tuition. And then when I bring those things up, they say, "Oh, you're not progressive enough." Those are the biggest ideals that Bernie Sanders focused on. And Jill Stein focuses on even more, a green economy in 30 years. I'm sorry, by 2030. A green economy, Tim, renewable energy.
Absolutely.
Did they talk about have they been focused on that today and throughout the election? It's only been about Russia.
Russia. That's right. The only thing they're concerned with is Russia. Same thing happened to me earlier today on Facebook. I made a post about what's going on with the hearings, and someone says, I knew it, Tim Black. I've been looking at you since the primaries, Tim Black, and I knew it, Tim Black. You are for Trump. And I'm like, so I've got an article I'm going to put out, man. I'm going to get it edited first because I need the edits, bro. But my thing is this, man. Like, I've been very consistent. You've been very consistent. I support it. Anyone who's been following you or I for any length of time knows how hard we fought for Bernie. Okay, we did that for months. You put out a lot of articles. I put out a lot of video content. You put out some videos too. Okay, I put out like almost 100 videos on Bernie.
Wow.
Then when Jill Stein came through, I supported her. I brought her on the show 3 times. I interviewed Ajamu twice. I went to rallies. I opened rallies where she attended. I did all these things, right? And still, just because I won't go with the Russia narrative, I'm a Trump supporter. No, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I am definitely not a Hillary supporter, and I'm not a supporter of the Democratic Party. And that's the
No.
problem. That's what they don't get. I may still support individual Democrats like Nina Turner, Tulsi Gabbard, but the party itself, for what it stands for, I don't support that. So people have a hard time, HA, separating, differentiating between not liking the Democratic Party and being a Trump supporter. That's not the same thing. There are a lot of people who don't like the Democratic Party who didn't vote for Trump, but they just don't like the Democratic Party for whatever reason.
Exactly. And there's a lot of reasons not to like the Democratic Party, but I'll say a couple things. Number one, I said Trump was going to win, and we both did, and he won because Clinton was nominee. Got to bring up the Democratic nominee. I'm sorry. so I
hate
can
that, man. Oh, yeah, I hate that, bro.
I can remember H-Rod 17 or Madam Cyberhack, different names, but the Democratic nominee, we knew she was going to lose. The entire political establishment said she was going to win. Not only that, they said there's an article in 538, Electoral College landslide. And people say, well, why bring up the election? Well, why bring up Russian hacking? Russian hacking is bringing up the election. You are reliving the past by blaming Russia for Trump. As if Trump is going to be impeached. There was no evidence. They've been, the FBI has been investigating since July.
Right.
And they didn't say anything that he won. They didn't do anything. And the Comey letter was very interesting. James Comey is an interesting character. He's an interesting human being because he's always playing both sides of the fence. The Comey, remember the 650,000 pictures of Wiener's Wiener? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
I mean, not literally, but I remember the subject. Yeah.
Thank God, not literally, but 650,000 emails from Wiener's laptop, and then he has an ongoing thing because he's, the whole, selfies. But that was a week before the election. Then you had her pushing for the Trans-Pacific Partnership, all these things. That's why she lost. Not because the Russians informed us that Bernie Sanders was cheated. This is an insane narrative.
But my thing is, HA, how many people, I know we have people that watch our show who know what's going on. They follow the news. They don't just watch MSNBC or CNN. But I'm telling you, man, a lot of people outside of the truly informed folks, they think Russia went into our election booth or went into our vote tabulating computers and did something. They don't even know, because when they use that term hacking, people just imagine it to be. See, it's very disingenuous. It's very misleading what they're doing, what they've been doing, HA. Right?
Yeah.
You and I know they're referring to the DNC leaks, the Clinton Foundation leaks, right? Just exposing people's emails where they said heinous things and admitted to doing things that are totally hypocritical, borderline illegal. Okay?
Yeah.
So, but most Americans don't know that that's what it's in reference to. They think it's in reference to some nefarious activity that went in and actually stripped votes away. Nah, that's not what we're talking about. And that's not what the Democrats are talking about. That's not what that hearing was about. No,
actually, the FBI and NSA denied that. That never happened.
But MSNBC and CNN and all the other mainstream media, corporate media, won't very simply say that. Hey, this is not about someone flipping your vote. This is not about your grandmother's vote not counting or your grandmother's vote being flipped from Hillary to Trump. No, that's not what it. But they will leave that area of uncertainty or they lack tact, and it's on purpose. They do it on purpose, HA.
They do it on purpose. They do it on purpose, and also, Tim, I got a question. I'm like paranoid. Everybody can hear us, right? It's working, right?
Yeah, they responded.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. What's up, man?
No. I'm
just paranoid.
I'm just paranoid.
Give it up for paranoid.
It's working, right?
Yeah, they would be right now. They'd be yelling at me. They said they could hear us both before we started talking.
Okay. So you're 100% right. They're doing it on purpose, and they're doing it because they don't have any lofty goals. They don't have any bold progressive ideas. They have only centrism/center-right ideas. Elizabeth Warren is a great example. She used to be a champion. Let's not use the word progressive. I won't even use the word progressive because what does that word even mean anymore? She used to be an icon that wanted to completely shake things up. She wanted to break up too big to fail banks. She even called out President Obama. And that was like, she was disloyal at that moment. She was just focusing on the American people. This was in 2014. And she said that Citigroup wrote a part of an omnibus bill that allowed banks to do the same things that led to the '08 financial collapse. The Democrats said, oh, that's really great of you, but you know what? Fall in line. And Wall Street threatened to retaliate. And then what do we have? We have Elizabeth Warren, who essentially was, I don't know whether it was fear, but she was intimidated to the point where she didn't support Bernie, and she eventually supported Hillary. But that's what happens. They beat you down, and you're not the same person anymore.
They beat you down and take away your voice, man. They either hire you to buy you off, right?
Yeah.
Indoctrinate you, or somehow they crush your will to resist. So instead of the resistance, what they're doing is crushing your resistance to their actual will. What are some of the things that came out in the hearings that I know you made several videos today, so did I. Anything that really, like, you just, you want to drive home about those hearings today?
The best thing is, okay, first, the story was that WikiLeaks worked with Russia. They categorically stated, Comey and Rogers, the FBI and the NSA chief, that WikiLeaks never, first of all, WikiLeaks denies working with anybody to do with Russia. But they said WikiLeaks never worked with the Russian government. What they said, to kind of cover their behinds, they said, oh, well, there was a third party that the Russian government worked with, and then that third party gave it to WikiLeaks. They're either making things up, they're not providing any evidence because there's no emails from that third party. Then when you ask for an email, a Russian hacker email or somebody, they say, well, we can't disclose it because then that would let our enemies know how much we know about them.
Absolutely. Yeah, the term they used was a intermediary, a cutout. And I looked it up. It's like espionage talk for someone who's like a go-between between two sources. So you got a source and you have, I don't know, the party that you're supposed to be interacting with. So you're like in the middle, and they're saying that there's somebody in the middle between WikiLeaks and Russia, and this person may know the Russian side, but the WikiLeaks may not know. So like, it's like deniability on it like puts a fog over WikiLeaks in a way, because they're saying, well, maybe this go-between has actually told WikiLeaks, hey, I'm Russian, or I'm working for the Russians, but they're not actually the Russians. So it's kind of weird, but at the end of the day, you're absolutely right, man. They said that WikiLeaks was not working with Russia. So that's a big get for WikiLeaks.
Yeah, and then whenever there was direct evidence of like Kellyanne Conway or Manafort or anybody that's working on Trump's team, they're like, did they collude with the Russians? No comment. No comment. No comment. Everything's a no effing comment.
Right.
And so this whole thing, and then you see these are editors of like Think Progress and all these progressive publications. They sound like McCarthy era Red Scare Republicans, but it's unbelievable how so many intelligent people are brainwashed to believe nonsense simply because, and I have to bring it up because this is directly resulting from Hillary Clinton's FBI criminal investigation.
Absolutely.
That she actually did deserve jail time. That's the thing. I don't like Trump, and I voted for Jill Stein and Bernie Sanders, but there's nothing that he did that's criminal. This is all a farce. Because the thing is, they're trying to get him out, they're trying to impeach him, but they can't find anything to impeach him. They've been working since June or sorry, July of
Yeah, yeah,
2016.
yeah. You know what? That's a very good point for you to bring up that date again, because people need to let that sink in for a minute. Like, all this talk today as if the revelation was huge, that there was an investigation, when in fact it's been going on for months. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking for the bombshell that's supposed to happen today. It reminded me a lot about Rachel Maddow with her whole Trump tax return. Because, yeah, it's like a foregone conclusion. Like, didn't
Yeah.
people already think there was some type of investigation going on? That's how they nabbed Michael Flynn. Like, didn't you know they were already
Yeah.
looking at people? So nothing really new happened in that, that portion of the testimony, in my opinion.
What you think of? I saw you did some great videos, but this whole our lives now politically it's like one big Rachel Maddow tax segment.
Right.
It's a giant tax. It's a giant tax fail.
Yeah.
And what do they? So now, not only did we find out the guy paid taxes, because the whole thing was that he didn't pay taxes. Now we know he paid taxes. Thanks a lot.
Right.
At least it would have been better if you had that like dream that he didn't pay taxes. He was just some billionaire who didn't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Now we know he paid taxes.
Right. I mean, if he didn't pay taxes in 2005, shouldn't he be in jail? Like
Exactly.
if he was avoiding, tax payment or tax liability. So now, HA, since they didn't have anything there, they started making it about, well, look how much of a write-off he took. Like, now they want to like audit him. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, dude, you don't work for the IRS. What are you even talking about this for? You guys are just sore losers. And that's the thing, man. The Democratic Party has shown, and look, dude, I did not know it. They're the biggest sore losers in the world.
What's that phrase? Salty.
Salty. Yeah, that's it.
They used to call me salty for the
Bernie.
Espionage Act indictments, and then Bernie.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, he's salty.
He's
salty.
Yeah.
Salty.
He's salty.
And now it's like a salt mine. This is like the ocean.
Right.
They're trying to impeach the guy because they think that, like you said, you brought this up many times, Mike Pence is worse.
Someone actually tweeted, well, they need to just, impeach Trump and install Hillary. I'm like, dude, that's not how that's not how it works. Like, that won't happen. What'll happen is you'll bring in Pence, and then like no one can go to the bathroom. We all got to go to the bathroom when we get home. And we'll be all like, forget just saying Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. You have to pray and say Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. It's going to be crazy. You guys don't know what you're asking for. But you know what? I want to tell you this analogy I use in the video, guys, of the interference. What people don't realize, when they say that the Russians interfered in our elections, it's the equivalent of saying, say you go to a basketball game, and I don't know, I like Shaq, so let's say Shaq's at the free throw line. If you're at the basketball game in the bleachers, yelling as Shaq takes his shot, that's the equivalent of what type of interference they say the Russians did. They're not saying that the Russians picked up the basket and moved it. They're not saying the Russians deflated the ball. They're not saying somebody ran up and pushed Shaq as he shot. They're saying that somebody in the rafters was yelling while Shaq was taking the shot, and just replace Shaq with Hillary, and you replace the ball going in the hoop with winning the general election, and that's the idea. And in the stands, instead of that being fans cheering, that's the Russians. So that's the equivalent of how much damage really the Russians did. And when asked, HA, they couldn't even say that it had any impact on the election.
Exactly. The NSA actually came out even was it before the election? Yeah, it was before the election. Well, this is a Hill article. And the NSA chief Rogers said that he thinks the NSA is moderately confident that the Russians hacked the DNC, but it didn't affect the outcome. Hillary still would have lost. But that's the thing. This is not Tim, and everybody watching. Trump is on his way to winning again. And he's on his way to winning because a lot of times, and this is true, even I'll say this, a lot of the scandals or a lot of the things, well, I should say some of the controversies regarding the Clintons were just Republicans trying to make things out of nothing. Or even Monica Lewinsky thing, yeah, he shouldn't have done it and he shouldn't have lied about it, but it wasn't national security.
Right.
They made it out to be the end of the world.
Absolutely.
This type of situation is only going to, and that helped the Clintons in a way because it made them martyrs. Yeah. This is a political martyr. This is going to help Trump be a political martyr. It's going to make him even more Teflon, because the Clintons, they got away with everything because they were able to say, you see, that scandal isn't legitimate. That's just people trying to pick on us. Yeah. What Trump is, all he can say, you know, he's actually calling people fake news now. He's calling the Washington Post fake news. And he's playing the game, but he's a master at manipulating the media. They don't understand that there's so many people that don't respect CNN or the Washington Post. There's millions of Americans, and not just Republicans, not just alt-right, whatever. There's a lot of progressives and a great many independents who don't respect them.
Right.
So they think that they bring on the heat for 4 years and people will just get sick of Trump, but that's not why he won. That's not going to stop him from winning. That's my point. That's why I disagree with circling the wagons and being loyal to the Democratic Party. That strategy brought us Trump. If Democrats had Tim Black and H.A. Goodman as the majority of voters, they would never dare dream of cheating Bernie, and then Bernie would be president.
There you go.
If you just have people that they're afraid of the Democratic Party and they have to, oh my God, Trump is a danger, let's focus on him now. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Donna Brazile, they don't care at all about the average person. And they're going to have their way, and it'll be, you know, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi 2020.
God. Every time you say that, man, goodness. And you know what? If they're that stupid, let them be it. Let them have at it, man. What do you think about the Obama, the wiretap conclusion that they came to, man? And I'll go first. I'll just say, yeah, you know, there was no evidence presented that they found anyway that links Obama with wiretapping of Trump. But I also think it's important for people to mention is the physical wiretap they found no evidence of, but also, man, what about other means of surveillance that could monitor people? Like I pointed out on Facebook, man, like people are watching us and listening to what we do or watching what we do, tracking our movements. We're not being wiretapped. We're being monitored on Facebook. We're being monitored on Twitter. We're monitored on YouTube. We're monitored in a million ways. So you can't say necessarily that there isn't any covert or any surveillance going on. What he said was there was no proof that he was wiretapped by Obama.
Exactly. And well, okay. Every time I log on to Twitter, I get, you know, somebody's, you know, a different location, that whole thing, almost all the time. So it's not like I'm not trying to say that I'm being watched, but whatever,
yeah,
I don't care.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Of course, we both being watched.
We're both being watched. So I don't care because I have nothing to hide. But I don't like it. But what I'm saying is Trump was bullshitting. Obviously, he was lying in the tweet. But this is the overall, like you mentioned, this is the overall story. An incoming president, Tim, was spying on behalf, I have to say it again, of Clinton, because Clinton's rival either could have or eventually did beat her. So the insurance policy for the $1.2 billion was the Russians are coming. That's what happened. They spied. I cannot say, I can't accuse you of taking my briefcase because I'm highly confident you did. I need evidence. I need to see a picture of you with the briefcase. I need to see something that I owned that you have now.
Absolutely.
So I need evidence. So I can't, and I also can't say, you know what? I don't like Tim Black, so I'm just going to accuse him and then try to find evidence later.
And that's exactly what they said today, basically.
That's exactly what they said. They started with, he can't win, and if he does win, somebody helped him. So that's the initial start. And then they say, oh well, some of Trump's team, because they know they can't prove Trump, because Trump will be like, I'm gonna sue you. So he'll take it to court and like, I'm a billionaire, I'll sue you. Okay. So don't even talk about me. So they say, oh, Trump's team was speaking to the Russians. Right. Meanwhile, and this is like, every time I bring it up, it's like this quantum physics thing where it's like two different realities. 20% of U.S. uranium capacity was sold under President Obama. He signed off on it. Now, he wasn't getting paid by the Russians, and Clinton didn't cash a check. But while it was taking place, Uranium One officials gave money to the Clinton Foundation. Just a coincidence, Tim, right? It was just a coincidence.
Yeah, stuff happens.
Stuff happens. And what I'm saying is, in 2012, during a debate, everybody can look this up watching. Mitt Romney, President Obama. Mitt Romney hated Russia. President Obama not only didn't hate Russia, he was caught on a hot mic, speaking to Medvedev of Russia, saying, when I win, I'll have more leeway to discuss the treaty we're talking about. But then he went to Mitt Romney and he said, the 80s, this is the best line of all, and somebody should have said it today. The 80s want their foreign policy back. The Cold War is over. Yeah. It's been over for 20 years. When President Obama says, jump, everyone says, how high? When President Obama says something, then, it's so great. Uh-huh. But then when Clinton loses, then everybody hates Russia. Got to hate Russia now. It's Yeah. So I don't know.
It's all about, you're absolutely right. It's all about Hillary losing the election. We wouldn't be having this conversation. And we need to start looking at the leaks. Like, okay, so the leaks from within the security administration or the security agencies or within the Trump White House are probably holdovers from Obama. I don't know if that's true or not, but somebody leaked information about Michael Flynn to journalists. Like, because his name was redacted. Like,
but you know what? What?
Yeah.
If I'm Trump, and I don't want to say this, but let's
say it.
How do I say it without? Under President Obama, if you were a journalist and you did something like that, you were being prosecuted. And not only that, Jeffrey Sterling is a CIA worked for the CIA analyst. He's in jail now for giving, what was it? He was actually, check this out, Tim. He gave information that wasn't classified. They retroactively classified it to screw him. This is Jeffrey Sterling.
Yeah, I know the story. Yeah.
Yeah, so they retroactively classified. Now he's in jail. What I'm saying is, if there's a person who leaked the information, if Trump wants to go after that person, then you have this whole tit for tat type thing. It's like Trump actually won fair and square. He won the Electoral College. That's when you had to forget it. Like, the Russians let us know Bernie was cheated. Fine. If anything, we should thank them because I wanted to know Bernie was cheated. Right. The DNC is a private organization. They can, kiss my behind, Tim. I don't care. They're a private organization. They're not the United States government. Now, if it's the U.S. government, let's put it this way. If they were hacking the Pentagon, I wouldn't say anything because
that's a government agency.
Yeah, it's a government agency. If they hacked the Pentagon, and then they stole something in the Pentagon, and then it was help Trump, I'd be like, that's a little bit. This is a DNC. DNC is a private entity. We knew that when Bernie won states and the superdelegates went to Clinton. They said it's our rules.
Yeah, it makes me believe that this whole did you see the Yahoo thing they're doing? Like they say the Russians hacked Yahoo back in 2014 and they want to prosecute the hackers and all this stuff. I think they're just doing that to throw smoke and kind of make it seem like they care about private companies being hacked by any foreign national.
But China also hacks. So does Iran. So does North Korea. So then what it's, it's like, what's interesting, Tim? The Russian.
So does America.
Exactly.
Never admit that though.
No. We don't hack anyone. We don't spy on anyone except our allies. We spied on Germany and France. and we don't influence any elections except like 80 in the past 50 years, including the French election in 2012. But at the end of the day, it's not going to help Democrats. So they're just crashing and burning. And it's the same. Can you imagine, Tim, when they eventually find out? Because James Comey is the best. I love him. He's going to come out eventually in a couple of months and say, oh, we didn't find any direct evidence, but it's really fishy. It's really fishy. And and they're going to say, so is anybody going to jail? We just can't find anything. So it's closed. The investigation is closed, but it was really, really fishy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with Clinton. That's why I focused on Espionage Act indictments, because if you don't want criminality in the future, make sure that it's taken care of when your side does it. This way, your side can get the best candidate and win. But they didn't want to do that. So, whatever, you got Trump on.
And you know what? And they're happier this way because now they can be the resistance. Because if they would have had Bernie Sanders in there, he'd have been shaking things up and making changes and signing executive orders and getting stuff done that help poor people, middle-class people, black people, Latino people, immigrants, LGBTQ. He wouldn't take any prisoners. So they don't want that guy in there. And
no, they don't want that guy in there.
They pretend like they're upset.
Perez. They want Tom Perez. They want Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They want Donna Brazile.
That's right.
They want, and Hillary's making a comeback, Tim. This is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, she came out the woods, right?
She came out of the woods. Yay! Yeah. Hey, she came out of the woods. She's not in bookstores anymore. And she came out of the woods. And you know what's this is so sad, Tim. There's a lot of people who've infiltrated Bernie Sanders Facebook groups, and there's one of two people that I can't stand. One is the frightened progressive, which fine. You know what? That's cool. That's cool. You disagree with me, fine. That's totally cool. You're frightened of Trump, and you'll go with Schumer to Pelosi 2020. Great. Let's see where that takes you. Then there's the actual, not even ashamed, like brazen Hillary supporter, just in Bernie Facebook groups. And this guy, I got into one guy. He was like, "Yeah, you guys cost the election." I was like, you're in a Bernie Facebook. It's a pretty big one. And he's like, "I don't care. I'm going to teach you guys a lesson." I was like, "Oh my God, it's back. It's the same thing." It's like thing. There's an uptick in trolls, right, Tim? Have you seen that? Uptick?
Yeah, I get them all the time.
Correct the Record got more money now. And, they must have just, hired more people. They're back. Everything's back.
It's all back.
That's why I say it's Trump 2020. They're gonna actually, he's gonna win again.
Man, I don't look, man. I just try to tell people like look, I'm real upfront about it. I don't mince words. Look, I'm tired of black folks voting Democratic without even looking at Republicans or Independents or the Green Party. That's my goal. If I achieve that, if I stay that one voice telling people, hey, I'm not saying never vote Democrat again. I'm saying they don't deserve your vote. I'm saying if they're going to get your vote, they got to earn your vote. That's all I'm saying. And for some reason, some people think that makes me a sellout. I don't think it does. I think it makes me a clear thinker, a forward thinker. I think I'm cutting edge, but that's not a sellout. And if you keep giving that damn vote away to these people who won't do anything, who will just give lip service to issues affecting your community, then you're going to have nothing. I'm tired of the black community doing that. Now, the white folks don't do that. Their vote, they get to choose. And no one calls them a sellout. If they choose to vote Republican, no one says they're a sellout. They may call them a Nazi. If they choose to vote Democrat, they won't call them a sellout. They may call them a snowflake.
But that's not the same thing. When they say when you hear people, they're like, Trump's a Nazi, and then I send them a picture of Trump and Hillary and Bill and Melania at the wedding.
Right.
And so
Silence.
I wouldn't go to a Nazi or KKK guy's wedding. Right. I don't know. I wouldn't. If I got the invitation to see a swastika on it, I'm not going. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah, he's such a flaming racist. The kids had sleepovers together. Such a flaming racist.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah, I mean, people, and people actually listen to it. And there's some things about Trump, like the thing about the housing thing he had, where he
Yeah,
wasn't renting to
yeah,
black folks. Look, dude, I'm not running from that. That's wrong if he did that. Okay,
wrong, yeah.
but you can see like rich people doing things they shouldn't do to other people
Oh,
based on
yeah, that
monetary gain all the time, and it pisses me off. But dude, remember Haiti? Like, okay, so
oh,
you know what I'm saying?
$10
Like,
billion.
billion
But
dollars to help Haiti, and they just took advantage of those people. Those people are black too, and you don't say anything. But
exactly.
I gotta keep hearing about this with Trump. About some 20 years ago, he settled a lawsuit about home discrimination. I mean, come on,
But that
dude.
but if that's the
Come on,
standard,
man.
yeah. But if that's the standard, then mass incarceration, Bill and Hillary actually pushed for the mass incarceration epidemic that affected the lives of so many people
Oh.
in the black community, Latino community. So
And now they're eating white people. Because now they got those. Now they're doing big pharma, and they're passing out those quaaludes. There's was it oxy whatever codones.
content,
Yeah,
yeah.
oxycodone. But anyway, those painkillers, man, and some people need them. Somebody wrote me like, Tim, some people need it. Right, some people do. But dudes, you cannot tell me if you got a town with the population of 392 and they send in 9 million pills that they don't plan
Yeah.
on getting you addicted on this stuff. So now the mass incarceration is spread around, and they're willing to lock all our kids up, everyone up, and we need to fight back against it. And that started, it started with Reagan. It was bolstered. It was heightened by Bill Clinton.
And Tim,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable how many, and I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people in the Democratic Party, millions of people. They're so afraid of shaking things up. They're so afraid of breaking up too big to fail banks or bringing home our soldiers from Syria. And I disagree with what Trump is doing, sending more Americans, sending Americans to Syria. But President Obama initially sent Americans to Syria. And then they come at me with this dumb thing. Everything has to be Obama and Clinton. Yeah, everything does. Because if you're a Democrat, everything does. Everything does. Because if you're the Democratic Party, you're supposed to be the opposite of Trump. You're not going to be a little bit better than Trump. Right. Be the opposite. Be the opposite. You want to use the basketball analogy. When Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell were going at it, it wasn't like one was just slightly not as good, or they were both equally matched. So it's like, they were opposites in their game, and they were equally matched, and they went after each other, and it was a battle. Yeah. Now you have two players, and they're almost the same, and they work on almost the same team.
Right.
We're not even. When you have Joy Behar taking a picture with or loving George W. Bush, or what was it, Ellen?
Yeah.
With that selfie, or with George W. Bush. George W. Bush is the reason the whole planet is in flames right now. He's the reason that the whole Middle East, hundreds of thousands of people throughout the Middle East died because of his decisions.
They don't care about that. They're more concerned about a Muslim ban or a travel ban that stops people from traveling freely for 90 days than they are for I don't know how many millions, 900,000 or 1 million people that have been killed who happen to be Muslim by the U.S. giving, not even counting the people when we arm terrorists and those people that die based on the weapons we gave them. We're just talking about people we directly killed. So, people like, I call out Snoop Dogg and T.I. and all these people who are freaking out about Trump. I'm like, dude, you don't really care. I think everyone who's in the doghouse, they feel like they get their get out of jail free card, HI. All they got to do is crap on Trump, and people will like him again.
But that's the thing, and you're right. Your critique is 100% correct, because you're not this. The time to resist was before November 8th, and it was during the Democratic primary. That was the time to resist. Now is not the time to resist. Now is the time to build up and make sure Bernie runs again, or Nina Turner, or Tulsi Gabbard. Because anybody else, I'm voting green.
Why can't they just,
And
they want to be the good guys, but they're not the good guys, man. They're the bad guys. They're the establishment. They're the bad guys. And they've been that way for a long time.
I would rather have an enemy in front of me than a friend backstab me.
Oh,
That's it. I don't want my friends to backstab me.
real talk.
And if my friends backstab me, they're not my friends anymore. But people just love to get their ass kicked. They love it. They love it. And they just love it. And they don't ever learn. And they say, please, thank you, sir. May I have another? Like that movie. They just, all they want to do is just, they get cheated, stomped on. They lost to Trump.
Right.
And yeah, no. They got to be friends with Trump again. Or hate Trump. Oh my God, this is really bad what he's doing. Yeah. And it's because Bernie was cheated.
Right.
It was because Bernie Sanders. That's it. It was, Bernie was cheated.
What do they, like, I get tired of people thinking, like, I'm like, what do you expect me to say? What do you expect me to do? I fought for months to get you to vote for the right guy, the guy who was up in the polls, the guy that could have saved us from any of this talk right now, and you wouldn't listen. You told me I was crazy, I was cuckoo, and the numbers were wrong. And I told you she could not win. I told you she could not win. And now that she's lost, now you're mad because I don't want to support her or her fucking party. It's like, dude, what part of this are you not understanding? Like, I was there, I was right, and these people cheated the guy who could have won, and you don't even hold him accountable for it? You just let that go? That's fine with you? That's not fine with me. I'm not going to support it. I'm just not.
No. And it's they lost and they still want to lecture you. That's on Twitter. Twitter's the best because they lost. It's like, it's like a quarterback. He takes the play in from the coach, and he's like, no, I don't like that. I'm going to run my own play. And then he loses the Super Bowl, loses the game, and then he lectures the coach.
Yeah, I think we need to do this. Hey, look, Coach, I know you've been doing it for a while, and I know I suck, and I know I cost us the ring last time. But listen, man, this is what I'm thinking we need to do. We need to do what I say because I don't have a track record of winning or nothing. Don't get me wrong. I lost twice in a row, but I'd like for you to listen to me. And not only look, here goes a little step further. Not only do I need you to listen to me, I'm going to bring in my daughter who doesn't know crap about any of this stuff, and we're going to run her too. So not only did Clinton not go away,
she
brought an extra. She's multiplying like gremlins, like lice, like there's more Clintons. We don't want more Clintons. We want less Clintons.
No, they want more Clintons. I said many times on my channel now, I said I hope she runs every 4 years.
God damn.
Every 4 years.
Oh, no wonder why you get trolled, man. You just like cut the arm, pour the vinegar in,
because
rub some salt in the vinegar.
because it's all come full circle. I was saying she can't run, she shouldn't run, she'll lose. Now people wouldn't listen. Now we have Trump. Now let's call their bluff. I want her to run again. Why? Didn't Russia steal it from her? So we have to have Clinton again forever.
Man, obviously, she was a great candidate. I don't know what people were thinking not voting for that lady who's so accomplished, and she never took part in interventionist wars. And she's always been on the right side of our trade agreements. Her and her husband did so right by black folks when it came to incarceration and welfare reform. Man, these guys I don't even know what we were thinking, HA. We were tripping, bro.
Tim, I'm going to save the naysayers time on the comment section. I'm just going to ask you, why are we reliving the election? I'm just going to ask again, why are we reliving the election? And the answer is because if you don't relive the election, you're going to get the same results.
Because it's Groundhog's Day, mother. Mofo, it's Groundhog's Day. And because this whole trial, this whole hearing is about what? What's it about, guys? It's about the election. That's what it's about. That's it. That's what it's about. It's about the election. But Tim, stop talking about the election. That's what this is all about. That's what the hearings are about. If Hillary won, they would be caring about Russia, looking at the DNC. Who cares about that? It's because they lost, and they need something to blame.
Real quick, I'm gonna ask you something that I thought of just recently, but I've been thinking about this. When do Democratic politicians bring up black issues.
Election time.
Election
Election
time.
time, baby.
Elec-
That's right. Look, man, this was the same reason why a bank robber robs banks, because that's where
Because
the
the
money
money's
is.
there.
There you go. There you go.
So I remember. Okay, so one critique was with Bernie Sanders. Well, I didn't see him at the march on Washington, or now with Elizabeth Warren, she was reading Coretta Scott King, and how dare the Republicans prevent her from reading. But when was the last time you heard a Democratic politician say, all right, the unemployment rate in many black communities is 30%, maybe higher.
Yeah.
We're gonna fix that in 5 years. We're gonna fix that in 5 years. We're gonna make sure that in the communities, black communities throughout the country, we're gonna reduce that poverty level to where it is the normal rate, throughout the country.
Right.
They never say anything like that.
Right.
They never say, and if you climate change, Trump climate change, but they are worried about regulations, but regulations isn't going to stop the planet from, being destroyed. It's a green economy with renewable energy. But that's the thing. They don't have any vision. Democrats have no vision, because the big donors don't really want vision. I mean, the big donors don't want anyone to ban fracking or to really focus on poverty. They don't want to focus on those things.
No way. Making money, baby. How are we going to run if we don't get money from special interests? We couldn't actually excite people and get them to donate to our campaign. Come on. That's too much work. We got to focus on issues that excite people. And heck, man, that's going to take up our whole day. We can't have $30,000 lunches and dinners at George Clooney's house or whatever if we're out there really working on issues, HA. You know what I'm saying? There you go, being a human.
Yeah.
Being humanity.
But how rich, I don't care how rich I ever get, $30,000 for a dinner. I mean, if it has to be some kind of networking thing. Because 30 grand just for one candidate who very well isn't going to care anything about what you say.
Dude, that's why they're pivoting. That's why I'm pissed off at Bernie, man, because they're using Bernie as a fundraising tool at this point. I mean, look, man, the special interests aren't going to pay any more money to the Democratic Party because, frankly, special interests wants their interests met. And if you're out of power, you can't control crap. You don't own the House. You don't own the Senate. Come on, man.
Well, I'm worried Bernie Sanders is going to. I'm worried that, like you said, Bernie is doing a lot for the Democratic Party too much after he was cheated, and I think that if he's going to run again, I'm sure he will run again, and I think they're going to try to cheat him again, and I think they're going to try to cheat Nina Turner and Tulsi Gabbard, and I just, that's why, like, when people say, "Oh, well, you're repeating what the Republicans say," it's like, no, just basic logic. Use logic. Use logic. And if logic is not just for Democrats, it's for all human beings, Republicans, everybody.
Right.
It's just basic logic. So Trump is on his way to winning. I hate to say it, he's on his way to winning again because Democrats haven't learned any.
But he's polling badly now. Like I did a video. He's 37% approval rating, 58% disapproval rating. And that's before today. Like, that's before FBI said there's no proof of Obama wiretap. So what do you think about the polls, HA?
The polls said that she was going to win in a landslide.
Yeah.
And
dude,
first of all,
Russia believed it too. Russia believed that Trump was out of it back in like August and September. They thought, well, we're going to have President Hillary.
Yep.
That was testified by Comey today.
Yep. Exactly. That's another huge thing. Wow. That's another huge thing. Yeah. And the polls, you know what? They have to be only polling I'm with her people, or they have to be polling only Democrats, because conservatives, they like Trump. Even if Republicans like Trump, the Republican Party, they try to pretend they don't, but they like Trump a lot because everything he pushes, everything's marketed now. So the wall is alt-right. No, it's not. It's conservative.
Yeah,
That's what conservatives want, the wall. That's what they want, that wall. If you listen to conservative talk radio and all Fox, they've been wanting the wall for years. And that's not an alt-right thing.
no.
This is just a conservative Republican thing. And it's unbelievable.
The
Democrats
immigration
lost.
reform is conservative, right?
Yeah, and Democrats lost, and they still want to lecture. So eventually, people will realize not to listen to them. Eventually, they'll fight back, or they'll resist the Democratic Party. You should resist Trump, fine, but resist the Democratic Party first. That's my thing.
You know, HA and I have a purpose. It's not like the same purpose that some other people have. And look, I respect that, you know, you got great people like the Humanist Report, great people like Ben Dixon and Noah Changa, you know, Anomaly. I had Anomaly on the show.
I like Anomaly.
Yeah, hey, thanks. And I want you guys to team up on some stuff. Like, you know, but our role is different. Like, we're unique. You know, we look at the Democrats. I look at the Democrats as being the enemy of progress in a lot of ways, and they fundamentally need to shift. So if you don't agree with that, and you think that we all need to kumbaya, you're at the wrong channel. You understand? And that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't go along. And HA is pretty much on the same point where he just feels the same way I do. Like, these guys deserve criticism. And frankly, why do we need to be like everybody else anyway? Like, you got 100,000 pundits, commentators, writers, journalists, reporters, all saying the same stuff about Trump. Why do you need another two people to do it too? Like, why do we have to do that? You got those options. Go to TYT. That's what they do all day. Why do you want us to be the same as the other people? Let us be who we are.
Yeah, and 100%. And my channel is just, if you don't like the Democratic Party, whether you're left or right, then my channel's for you. Because I can't stand the Democratic Party. So that's why when people say, you have a lot of conservatives on your channel, well, a lot of people dislike Democrats.
Yeah.
And I dislike the Democratic Party. Because one thing I'll say about Republicans, they have a value system, and they elected Trump, which is the epitome of their value system. We're said to have a value system, and we cheated the guy who represents our value system for the person who doesn't and who lost $1.2 billion. So that's who we are. At least the Republicans stand by what they believe in. That's why I would rather have an enemy in front of me than a friend backstab me. That's my philosophy in life.
Makes sense to me. Makes perfect sense. H.A. Goodman, man, Counterpropa is popping. I know it is. I need to get on your website, bro. I need all the help I can get, man.
Honored.
You know,
I'd be honored.
Heck, man, I just told him, but tell him where to go or something.
Just H.A. Goodman YouTube, and through there you can find counterpropa.com, and that's my new publication. And what can I tell you, Tim? Hey. And if there's anybody watching, you know, I am also accepting submissions. So if you want to go ahead and you know, write, it'd be for free. So it's kind of like a Huffington Post type thing where I would go ahead and you know,
publish your work.
Yeah, publish your work and share your writing, and then I would pocket all the money. Which is essentially what I would do. But no. No, I would. I'm definitely looking for submissions. So my email address is on my hagoodman.com, and you can go ahead and just email me a submission, or it's counterpropa@gmail.com. So counterpropa@gmail.com. Send submissions, and if you want to, if you're a writer. And I'll look them over.
Do it, guys. Send them submissions, man. Get on it. And you know what? If you get published over there, we'll mention your article. We'll both promote your article to give it more legs, man. You know that's what we do. That's how we roll, man. H.A. Goodman, man. It's been and thank you so much for joining me, man. Thank you for another great No Sellouts, bro.
Tim, you are the best. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and keep on doing what you're doing, because you're a very, very, very important voice. And It's just you're needed in this day and age with a new McCarthy era. It's the new McCarthy era. It's unbelievable. So keep doing what you're doing, and I'll see you next Monday.
That's it, brother. Give it up for H.A. Goodman, guys. My man. H.A. Goodman. All right, guys, that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us. We had a great time talking about all the issues you care about, issues we care about. We really care about these issues. No one hands us a script and says, talk about this stuff. Talk about the thing, and they put something on a teleprompter, and then we just got to repeat crap. No. We actually care about what we talk about. It actually is authentic, real, not robots, not controlled by mainstream media, oligarchies, or whatever that crap, okay? So if you support independent media, or if you like independent media, you value independent media, you want to see it continue to grow, please give to this channel. Please support what I do. I got your back. We may not always agree, but you know what? When you don't agree with me, it's not because somebody's telling me to tell you some crap to try to scare you or try to fool you or something. It's just because we're just different people. And sometimes we're going to disagree. That's okay. It's when people are trying to deceive me with some crappy agenda that I have a problem with, that I have an issue with. And you never have to worry about that with me or H.A. Goodman or Anomaly or Bon Kim or Michael Salomon or anybody else I work with. Because if I find that out, I won't work with them. That's the power of the internet. Speaking of power of the internet, a friend of mine who's helping my channel wrote a book, and it's an inspiring book. It's a book that highlights a man's life of turning his life around, basically. It's only 99 cents. It's available on Kindle. His name is Mark Van Susteren. I need you to check that out. It's in the description box below. If you could go there, click on that, go to the Facebook post, and check it out, guys. I would really appreciate it. It would help the show, and it would help Mark. That's it, guys. I got a lot of content coming out. As you notice, I'm putting out crazy amounts of content. That's all thanks to my man, Momo Pineno. Momo Pineno is the guy, okay? So I need you to support Momo Pineno. He's doing my video editing, and it means so much, man. That way I can focus on doing the videos. That's why I was able to do like 10 videos today, plus do this show, because I have help. So give to the show so I can give to Momo so we can do Mo. All right? All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And until we talk again, you know the hashtag, right? Stay strong, staying tall. Hashtag, keep your cornbread. Hashtag, don't you let nobody take your cornbread. I'm out of here. Tim Black. Tim Black. Tim Black. Yes, I am. True. Funny. Tim Black. I am Tim Black. Shout out to my peoples. Tim Black. Dad Blue, Tomaso Young, Becca C, Tracy Lynn, AC Yor, Jenny Lynn, Jared Smith. And don't forget, tomorrow we will open phone lines, people. Phone lines will open tomorrow. I've added another day of phone calls because that's by popular demand. That's what my people want. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do a short intro, and then we're going to go to phone lines. So we have 2 days of phone lines on the Tim Black at Night show. That's going to be Tuesday and Friday. Be there. Yeah. Or... it's going to be consequences and repercussions. Going to be consequences and repercussions.